Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well today. This is Brad Cartwright with Econ Course Companion. And this video is the introduction and overview video of the market structure of perfect competition. The theoretical market structure that is set up as the first market structure that we study in theory of the firm. And this video is just meant to throw it out there for you to get you to understand some basic assumptions that are implied in the market structure of perfect competition. So here they are. As you know, of course, by now, as you went through, the cost, revenue, and profit section of your course companion, that perfect competition is one of the four market structures that is studied in IB economics, and these are the assumptions that we make. And it's important that you realize that perfect competition, monopoly, oligopoly, and monopolistic competition are all market structures that dictate behavior of firms. And so you got to imagine a firm that has the cost curves, the average cost, the total fixed cost, average variable cost, all the cost curves that you studied, those exist. And this firm is going to behave differently in a market that is perfect competition as opposed to how it would behave in a monopoly. And that's a big thing for you to understand, that these market structures are behavioral structures dictating how firms behave. Just like we behave differently in different structures, school, home, with our grandparents, with our friends, firms behave differently as well based on the rules and the structure that they are set in, okay? So what's the deal in perfect competition? There's a large number of small firms. Each individual firm has no control over price. They are what is called price takers. That's very important. They have no ability to decide what the price is that they're going to sell their good for. All firms sell a homogeneous product. There are no barriers to entry and no barriers to exit, which means that you can just walk up You can very easily, in this theoretical sense, join the marketplace and become a firm, and you can very easily walk away. And the other thing that I tell my students is like, listen, remember perfect competition, perfect information. Perfect competition, perfect information. That means that everybody, buyers and sellers, have the information, have knowledge about the price of the good. And the best example that I have that is the foreign exchange market. If you've ever gone and exchanged money at a foreign exchange desk as you've been traveling, one of the first things you should do is like pull your phone out of your pocket and check the exchange rate between whatever currency you want to buy and whatever currency you have in your pocket. So I just most recently traveled to Argentina, and before I went and changed my dollars into Argentinian pesos, I checked to see what the exchange rate was. What am I doing? I have perfect information. What do you think the person at the kiosk is doing that's sitting there trying to sell me Argentinian pesos for my dollars? They're going on their phone and going, what's the price for Argentinian pesos in comparison to the dollar? So I already know the price. Right? There's no, and the person back there, if they don't give the price that I already know is a fair price based on the industry supply and demand market, I'm not going to go to them, okay? And that's really important. So they have no control over price. They are price takers. And the other thing that's super important to understand about this market structure is there's no barriers to entry and no barriers to exit. And I think an analogy is the best. Like picture, you're in a public park and there's a soccer game over there and you walk up and you start watching the game. Okay, there are no barriers to entry to see that game. You just walk up, there's no ticket, there's no stadium, there's no cops, there's no security, there's no nothing, right? You just watch the game. And guess what? It's boring. It's terrible. Or you just got to go. Either way, you can just turn around and leave whenever you want. And you don't have to go through any doors or security gates or cages or whatever. As opposed to going to a professional soccer match anywhere else in the world, what do you got to do? First of all, there's a barrier of entry in the ticket. Second of all, you got to stand in line. Third of all, there's a whole security process you have to go through to get in there that varies greatly by different country. And then when you're in there, sometimes, and I was at a game in the late 1990s in England, and I couldn't leave. I was stuck. They wouldn't let me leave, okay? So there's a high barrier to exit there, right? So it's pretty a good analogy to understand that. A perfect competition is like a soccer game going on in the park, and you can show up and watch the game, and you can leave whenever you want. All right? So there's a little overview of just what's meant by the market structure of perfect competition. This is the first of the series now for the market structure perfect competition, when we're going to take a look at the demand curves, we're going to look at the average revenue curves, we're going to take a look at the marginal revenue curves, and of course superimpose all of that, or onto all of that, the cost curves that we know all firms have. All right, my friends, I hope you found this video to be helpful. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you in a bit.